Hi you guys, if you're someone that counts calories and tracks your macros, stop and try this instead. But first, let me tell you a little bit why that's not likely to work and more likely to cause problems in the long run than good. First of all, calories are not based on nutrition. They are solely based on the energy contents of a food. A calorie is basically a measurement of how much energy a food will raise a certain volume of water within a given period of time, and it's measured by what's called the burn calorimeter. Tells you nothing about the quality of food you're eating. You can eat 1,000 calories of toxic, poisonous garbage and still get 1,000 calories, and you can eat 1,000 calories of certified organic or biodynamic awesome food full of nutrition, and that will have a radically different effect on your body. And if you're tracking macros, then really what are you tracking? It's usually almost that you're trying to follow some kind of a diet instead of listening to your body. So what I do is I break foods into two basic groups. Foods that have eyeballs, which are almost always flesh foods with higher amounts of fat and protein than your typical no eyes foods, because vegetables don't have eyes unless you think of the eyes of a potato, which not really count. And then just simply check in with your body and experiment. Right in my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, I show you how to do various tests and diets. So there's 3 metabolic typing approaches. One is you eat about 70% of your food as eyeballs or flesh foods, which can be fish or meat, and about 30%, we call that the polar type. And then you can have people that are about 70% plant-based foods and only 30% eyeballs or flesh foods. And then there's people that are about 50-50, which is the mixed type. So you got the polar, mostly meat, less plant. The equator types, where it's warmer, that's about 70% plant foods and 30% flesh foods. And then you got the mixed type, which is about 50-50, and all those are just starting points. So just ask yourself, where were my parents born? If either parent was born somewhere where the ground freezes in the winter, you know for sure your genes are going to be built to get you through the winter with flesh foods, and you're not going to be the type of person that's going to do well on a plant-only diet because you don't have the genes for it. So if you have one parent, you might start with the 50. If both 50-50, if both parents come from somewhere the ground freezes in the winter, start with the polar type. Get rid of any ideas of should or shouldn't and just simply pay attention. In my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, there's what's called the tachometer diagram, and it shows you the symptoms, too much fat and protein, and the symptoms of too much carbohydrate, and gives you tips for balancing. You'll know when you got it right because you'll have such things happen as your energy will be good for 4 hours, you'll have cognitive clarity, you will feel energized, you will not have cravings for snacks typically at all, unless you're doing some kind of heavy physical exercise between meals that burn up so much that you need to eat more. But really the idea is to get away from all of this sort of Western scientific materialistic concepts that are really out of touch with the reality of what nutrition is. Remember, food is not just calories, it's not even just nutrition. It's color, which is light that stimulates the body. It's frequency. It's everything in the universe is made of energy, frequency, and vibration, and our body feeds certain glands and organs need certain colors and certain frequencies that are in given foods. And if you look, for example, if you cut open a head of broccoli, you'll see a geometrical pattern. If you cut open a watermelon, you'll see shapes and seeds of different shapes. If you cut open anything, you see there's often different geometry, and geometry is also very much related to what the food does for our body. I could explain that in much more detail, but it would take quite a while. So food is nutrition, food is energy, food is frequency, and food is information. For example, in the wintertime, your body wants foods that increase thermogenesis, such as fat and protein, because we're typically cold when we're outside in the winter. But in the summertime, your body wants foods that help the body cool, such as watermelon. But if you eat watermelon in the winter, when your body needs fats to help improve thermogenesis, you're not going to get nearly as good a response. You're probably not going to be satiated, and you're probably going to find yourself cold all the time. So the point is that the watermelon is a different color, and it's got a different type of information for the cells, and red meat, even though it's the same color, has a different profile and different types of information and different types of nutrition. So the secret is actually develop a loving, intimate, friendly relationship with your body. Pay attention to how you respond and start with that experiment of either 70-30, 50-50, or 70 plant, 30 flesh, and just start adjusting until you feel what's right for you. And as you go along, pay attention to how your body responds, and what'll happen is you'll start to become more intuitive. For example, you'll sense on a hot day what your body needs, or after a hard workout what your body needs, or how it's different on a day that you're not working out, just maybe stretching, and you'll just listen to your body, and you'll literally begin to be guided by your body, and you'll look back at how you were eating with all the calorie counting and macro monitoring, and you'll realize that the way you're eating, as I'm describing here, is helping you be much healthier, and you can get rid of all the Western dietetic silliness, because the number of people that I've worked with that count calories and monitor macros and do all this American dietetics and diet book stuff that are unhealthy, have body shape problems, body weight problems, is through the roof. And when I teach them how to have a real relationship with food and some of these basic principles, they often look at me and say, I can't even believe I was doing that and that I survived it. So there you go. Try that instead.